Hi, Eric.
Hey, Fabian, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I think the start was a bit difficult, but now everything works pretty fine.
Good. In business. We'll get started in just a moment. We already have a couple of folks already joined on the line, but we'll just give it 1 minute. I'll do a brief intro and we'll get it going.
Cool. Does Edgar still have access to the chat?
Yes. So okay. All the folks who are listening to us chat back and forth right now are on the chat.
Perfect.
And, I'll be following it as well. That's right. Hello, everyone. I can see we have some folks joining, and since we just hit 2:50 Eastern Time, I want to do a really brief introduction before passing it over to Fabian. We have a topic here that is near and dear to my heart, which really is about how can we engage better with our customers and to bring data strategies forth that are going to not just help, it's not just about collecting data, but it's how do we then use that data and have data that's structured, that can be used in an actionable way, that's going to be able to drive those great results in terms of more personalized experiences and really just more engaging experiences. And this kind of back and forth between making sure the data we collect is used to deliver a really great experience and a really good customer journey. So thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to pass it over to Fabian from IBM iX, and I'm going to let him take it from here.
Thanks, Eric. So let me jump to the second slide and give you a brief agenda. So first of all, I'm going to do a short introduction to IBM iX. I think some of you guys might already know IBM iX, some of you might not. Then I'll go through some challenges we've mentioned in 2020. I think all of us did. And we will end part one with the visualization of pain points we often see in the customer journey in most of our clients that we see in the market. Then I'll go through the customer experience strategies, which are like the core of the presentation. And after an interesting success story, in my opinion, I'll sum up the key takeaways for you guys. So let's do a brief introduction to myself. My name is Fabian Payer. I'm leading the analytics and data science community in the Berlin IBM iX studio. In my daily work, I consult clients in areas like web and app analytics, tracking integration, usage of data and machine learning to connect user and business value. So not only just have like user centricity, but having some of the business centricity in there as well. Who is IBM iX? I've actually heard the question, who are you guys, actually quite a lot. But I think that there are like the big three letters that everybody knows. So who's IBM iX then? IBM iX is the business design arm of IBM services that everybody already knows. At IBM iX, we work at the intersection of progressive strategy, creative visions, and transformational technology in order to help our clients tackle today's biggest business issue or challenge tomorrow, actually. And if we look just on numbers, then IBM iX isn't that small, actually. So like globally seen, we have 17,000 experts across 57 studios globally. So my guess is there might be one of our studios just around your corner. So let's get into it. Part one, let's check the market and its challenges. Yeah, we can't really start with challenges of 2020 if we don't talk about COVID-19. For us, for sure, it has been a big issue and it has been difficult, but on the other hand, it has been a catalyst for digital transformation. So it is a pandemic with many effects, consumer-wise, employee-wise, a lot. But what we do see as well is a big impact on the stock market. Not only the metal stocks, every time when there is a pandemic or something really critical, the good metal stocks, they rise because they are still stable. But what we do see is like 35 to 40% growth of top 7 companies in the S&P 500. And guess who are they? It's like most of the time it's like the big tech stocks or the big tech companies. And it's not just like that the stock market is changing towards it and sees it. Managers do as well. So 70% of leaders indicate that the pandemic is likely to accelerate the pace of their digital transformation. And not only because now everybody's working from home, or at least most of us, but consumers are most of the time at home as well. So we need to find out how to get them consume our products from home as well, the best way they could have done before. So our approach, or what we see all in all in that, is that significant events like COVID-19 for sure is influence not only employee but consumer behavior as well, because in the end we are consumers as well. And COVID-19 has increased the need for digital services enormously. So the biggest thing in here is actually that companies with digitalization in their DNA, and if we look into the big tech companies, they have it in their DNA, they actually benefit from this digitalization advantage a lot. It's like really, really crazy. So let's go back to the customer or to the consumer. Still that we do have this change, consumers do have some challenges. And one of the biggest challenges is being treated generic. And 60% of German customers, and I have quite a feeling that it's not only in Germany the issue, feel pretty treated as generic customers. And do we really want to be treated generic? I think we want to be treated on a personal perspective and with our personal needs that we do have. And it's not only that us as consumers are treated like that. If we look to the brands, then we see something pretty similar. We see pretty similar content across all the different brands in terms of products, in terms of promises, and in terms of communication. And communication is the next big point. What could be more difficult for us than to have impersonal communication on personal interfaces, like newsletters, for example? It's meant to be personal, just tailored to our needs. And then you get like, hey, are you interested in this and that product? No, I'm not really, thank you. But where do these issues come from? Like, in my opinion, it is actually coming from historical data silos that most of the companies do have. And the linkage between the various touch points that is often not there, or at least not in a structured way. So our approach is pretty clear here. Break up existing data silos and collect customer data in a structured way across all touch points. Not only one touch point, because then you might just create the next data silo, do it across all the touch points that you're working on. Getting into the customer, we can go on with that. Because if you perceive generic, then how many reasons do you have to remain loyal to a brand? I wouldn't have any, to be honest. And 75% agree with me and say that they indicate they're more likely to remain loyal to a brand if they are perceived on a personal level. And that's not only the consumer thing that we see, but we do see it from numbers of clients that we work with. And we do see that companies with a strong omnichannel approach do remain their customers, like 89% of their customers, compared to 33% for companies with weak omnichannel engagement. So, and there is just some examples on top that you see, which are like in the head, or maybe sometimes customers actually talk about them pretty loud in your social channels and ask, I know you have a lot of data about me, but why can't you better meet my needs? And that's just like an example. And there is a lot of that. And the more generic you're being treated, the more questions like that are going to be stuck in the heads of your consumers. So our approach here is pretty clear. If you do have a lot of data about your customers, and most of the time you do have, then use this information, get valuable insights, and then use them wisely instead of just doing generic communication. The next thing that we've mentioned. There is a lot of things happening. Communication with the watering can, that we've just talked about, and for sure, like there is some other stuff happening as well, like data mishaps. And all this together has an impact on how customers behave. And 69% of customers do actually have a lack of confidence in the goodwill or good intentions of brands. Connected to IT security issues, this is a big, big problem. And we've just seen problems in the early past, like the Garmin ransomware attack, where they didn't really have access to they didn't have control about the IT systems. And if you as a customer see this, or you just hear about 2 million data points have been lost to some hackers by this and that company, then you lose a lot of trust. And if you lose trust, then you have a big desire in not handing over your personal information, especially if it's just used for marketing purposes that are then pretty generic. So our approach here is pretty clear as well. You as a company, or we as companies, have to do a transparent communication to customers. Why do we collect information? What are the actual benefits for the consumer? And what do we do to make sure that data is secure? So that was quite a lot. So let's move on to the last part of the journey and the pain points. We at IBM X try to always visualize everything to make it clear what is happening. And the customer journey isn't something new. It's like the buyer journey or purchase journey that all of you guys know. And there are like these 5 or 6, sometimes it's 7 phases that are the relevant ones. So it's from awareness to consideration, decision, purchase, retention, and activation. And we always try to be user-centric. So let's not talk just about consumers. Let's give her or him a name. Let's just talk about Kate. What is our goal for Kate? Kate is our customer. We want we understand that she has different information needs depending on what phase she's currently in. And our goal is to lead her from one phase to the other. So it should be pretty much streamlined. But we can do a lot of things pretty much wrong. So just give her some pain points in this customer journey. This could be that we just give her the pretty much the wrong offer because she's not really interested in this specific product. Like she's just interested in a TV, and we tell her, hey, why don't you just buy this nice fridge? I don't need a fridge, I already got one, thank you. Or when she's in times of consideration, she wants to think of what is the best TV that you can offer me, then most of the time, product information is pretty much standardized. But often, if we talk about the pros and cons of the products and why you should choose the cheaper or the more expensive one, we tend to do it too complicated or far too vague. And if we just look at all the different pain points, I think we shouldn't go through all of them, then we do have one big point. All these problems across this customer journey reduce the likelihood of recommendation. And in the end, we want Kate to talk about the company, about the products, and recommend us to her friends. Okay, let's go to the 3 strategies. So pretty easy. Let's go actually back to the customer journey. So as I've just said, we plan it to be pretty much straightforward. But maybe Kate and all her friends and all the other Kates, they don't do it that straightforward. And maybe she does some turns that we don't actually see because it's on touch points that we don't own, where we don't have any information, like price comparison pages. So what we need to do is we need to connect, or we need to see all of the touch points where we have some access to, and connect them to the different phases. And we need to have a structured approach for that, so that we have a concept for collecting data in a structured manner across all touch points and storing it in a unified data source. For example, the CDP that I think all of us have heard today a lot. Second strategy, there she is again, Kate. Most of the time we do mention her or just look at her from one perspective. pretty much the consumption perspective. So we see like, okay, Kate is interested in buying a fridge. No, she isn't. She just told us. But she's interested in buying a television, or maybe a car, or maybe just looking for her next vacation. But is that everything? I don't think so. In my mind, Kate is pretty complex, as we are all. And if we just start in seeing her from different perspectives, like, for example, taking life stages in consideration, we get far better experience for her and for sure for us as well. Because if we have a Kate who's just started her apprenticeship, then she might not have the budget to buy the 5,000 television. Maybe better like the one for 500 bucks. So all in all, if we use more perspectives to understand Kate, we can do far better classified impulses. We can evaluate possibilities for her and make the best predictions. So in the end, she's going to be happy, and she's going to be a happy customer, not just somebody who passed by and seen like, oh yeah, you're selling TVs as well. Let's go to the third and last strategy. Transparently personalization and delivering that across all touch points. So we've done quite some steps already. We've collected information, a lot of data. We do understand who Kate really is. And we know what products are interesting for her, what television, what communication is the right approach for her, because we understand how she talks and how she wants to be talked to. And we do understand what channel is actually the one where we should approach her. But don't you remember there was something about the 77% of people who didn't want to share their data? And maybe Kate is one of them as well. So for sure, like everywhere nowadays, there is this one big thing like GDPR, data privacy and consent management, which seems to be a big pain, and everybody knows this. Or you come to a website, what is the first thing that you see? This cookie banner thing again. But in my opinion, this is not only just pain point, but it's a good benefit for us as well, because for us, it's a good point to do transparent communication of what are the actual benefits for the customer, for the Kates. And if we want to do so, and if we already do this communication of what are the benefits for her, then there is one big point that we can't mess up here. It's keeping what we've promised. Because if we've promised that Kate is going to receive a nice personalized experience, and then she is going to get the next generic newsletter or push notification on her mobile phone while she was talking to her boyfriend, for example, then she's going to be really, really mad. And then she's going to say, yeah, nice try, I'm going to opt out again. And then you don't have access to Kate's anymore. All of these strategies are nothing without a success story. For one of our clients is Centrica. It's an energy service provider from UK. So Centrica wanted to do a relaunch, and they wanted to address with this relaunch one of their biggest problems that they had, which was fragmented data sources. And we are not just talking about some, but we are actually talking about 15 different CRM solutions and 5 CMS solutions, which is kind of a big pain point for Centrica. So what we did is we consolidated those 15 CRM and CMS solutions, and we've done this with a nice, and we've put them together in a nice holistic platform. For this, we used the solutions Drupal, Acquia Cloud Site Factory, and Salesforce Pardot. And I think like the results are really, really nice. So the results are really nice in terms of returning visitors. So we see that 65% of the visitors have returned after the relaunch, which is not really normal. So in total, we had like 5K unique visitors per week. And on average, for companies with 200 or more employees, we do normally see like 2K per week. And one really, really nice point was that we reduced the bounce rate of the different pages to 41%. Well, on average, we have more like up to 50%. So I think it was, just from that perspective, it was a really, really nice case. Additionally, I do see that it is a great success because we had like multiple studios across Europe delivering such a great solution. So it was like there was like the studio in London, there was a studio here in Berlin, and there was Blue Wolf, which was focusing on Salesforce integration. So I think we are already late in time, so let's go to the key takeaways. So pretty easy. So like first key takeaway is for sure, like we have to focus on collecting and storing information. First of all, break up existing silos, do a nice and holistic concept of how you can do uniform data model, not just for one or two channels, but for all of them. And then do a structured collection approach of all your user and interaction data and put it together in one big unified customer data profile. Second thing is generate valuable insights. So what you should do is connect all the data sources and process them with machine learning algorithm, for example, to do deduplication. So you do understand who is the customer and not like having like, for example, 6 Kates, but actually have the 1 Kate that she actually is. Make a holistic user profile available in the CDP and make it available to the different touch points, so that you see something that is matching the customer needs, live faces, and your product world that you have information about. And last but not least, do a transparently personalization approach. Do respect the customer consent node and use this as a benefit, not just as a pain point. And after you've done so and the customer has given her consent, do deliver. Not just talking, but actually delivering and keep the promises that you've done. And this by enriching an omni-channel communication, not just focusing on the 2 channels that are most easy for you. Because in the end, the channel that you are taking less time and budget might be the one that is most interesting to Kate. And that's pretty much it. Do we have any questions?
If there are questions, one thing I did want to mention is that Centrica use case won an Acquia Engage Award as well. So not just a happy customer, but recognized for some really good work in that transformation there as well. So thought I wanted to add that as we close it out. If we don't have questions, folks, I really encourage you to check out the booth, the IBM iX booth, and chat with Fabian about some of this stuff. He knows a tremendous amount about this space and this field, and is a great resource in terms of data, machine learning, and how to bring this together to a great experience. So, thank you for spending the time and for talking us through some of this.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.